We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Looks like we have quorum confirmation as well. I want to let everybody know we have a new member here this evening, so let's take a few minutes to take our time to introduce ourselves. I'll start and I'll pass it to the left. My name is Sam Armstrong. I'm the chair of the commission. Exactly my last meeting chairing this since we have elections this evening. I just graduated from IU with a degree in environmental sustainability studies and a certificate in GIS and remote sensing. Currently looking for a job right now, and that is what's occupying most of my time. So I'll pass it to the left.
My name is Matt Caldy. Been a commissioner since 2017 and was again vice chair up until today. I think you're going to change.
My name is Connor Wright. I graduated out of studying business and political science. Then we worked for only a few months at this point. I don't really know.
My name is Megan Murphy. I teach at IU, teach biology, primarily entomologist, animal behaviors, all of those fun things. I've been here for about a year.
Mike Litwin. I'm a retired biologist from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I've been on the commission for 2 years.
Same here from the latter part. David Parker. I have a doctorate in plant ecology, and when I was teaching at SPEDA for 30 years, I mostly taught math and statistics.
I'm Don Eggert, retired environmental geologist, also volunteer with parks and of course MCIRS.
I'm Kristen Mann. It's great to be here. I currently work for Walmart e-commerce and supply chain and logistics. I started my career as a meteorologist for the National Weather Service. So through some swerves and shifts and changes, I managed to find my way into program management. And yeah, I'm just thrilled to be here. So thank you so much.
Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm Linda Thompson. I'm the liaison between the city and the EC and the environmental planner.
And I'm Carrie Albright. I'm one of the commissioners, and I was on the EC a really long time ago, and I took a nice long break, and I'm now back, which is really exciting. I've been back for about a year now, and I work for the North America Association for Environmental Education. So thank you.
Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Everyone, my name is Ellen Ferguson. I'm on the Bloomington Commission for Sustainability. Yeah. My name is Julian Field, and I work for the City of Bloomington Vegetation Team Outreach, and I'm also a board member of MCIRS.
I'm David Maynard. I'm also on the Bloomington Commission on Sustainability. Nice to meet you all, Peter.
Thank you guys for coming today. Appreciate it. Okay, that's it for introductions. The next item on our agenda is the approval of last month's minutes. I don't believe we have anybody attending online, so we don't have to go person by person. We can just raise our hands.
Second.
So, yeah. Okay, then we'll start with that. For those for it, please raise your hands.
Yes.
Looks like a unanimous pass, pretty much. Anybody against it? No. There we go. Next item on the agenda is the public comment period. It looks like we have a few people here joining us today. It's fine if you're just spectating, but if you'd like to say anything, you have a few minutes, so please go ahead. Anybody? Y'all just watching?
All right. The purpose for Emma and my visit tonight is to meet you all. We've been discussing on our commission some outreach programs, or coordination rather, to bring first our own commissioners together, because we find that we don't really get much contact with each other outside of the monthly meetings, and that we could foster ideas a little bit better if we be in more social environments. A lot of your work and our work are entwined, and we think that it'd be great if you guys wanted to join us on one of our social meetings to share ideas and make connections and see just how we can strengthen our bonds together so that we can better.
We talked about that this last meeting, about having a picnic or something together, and maybe with the tree commission too.
But yeah, it's overall, you know, shared mindset. We I think we can do a lot more together.
My daddy read to that too.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Environmental Resources Advisory Council for the Parks Department.
Oh.
The tree, yeah, the big commission party. That's a good idea, though. Thanks for pitching that.
Could we get both of your names again?
David Maynard.
Mine's Emma Ferguson.
Oh, and also I'm the treasurer for ECOS.
I'm secretary.
And you're what?
The secretary.
What?
Secretary.
Oh, okay. Who's sharing this right now?
We have two co-chairs, Angela and Joe.
Sure.
William.
And he just took down.
Okay.
We're actually planning our first gathering after our meeting in March. So if y'all are interested, I'll share information on like where specifically.
Yeah, definitely. You can find Liz, through the city, and then David also has my contact information. So however works for you guys, we're happy to help set that up. So
we have big outreach plans this year. That's one of our big purposes. So saying that that's the thing that you're looking at. And we can partner on.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for the comment. Really appreciate it. That'd be really fun to work that out. So definitely. Looks like that's it for the public comment period. We don't have anybody online who wants to speak. The next item on the agenda, my apologies for mixing that up, is actually a formal presentation from Julian, not a public comment. Julian, if you'd like to go ahead, you can stand up or take where the spot where you'd like.
To share screen and go back to Zoom.
Technical.
Yeah, I hope it got sent to the right people.
Share screen.
I did another send today.
Oh.
Yeah, to the right kind of PowerPoint for it to work.
I see.
And share.
But I can start. I'd like to
Okay, now do I get rid of this?
introduce myself. My name is.
From the beginning.
Might as well wait till they're ready.
Yeah.
Here? I'll have this.
Then I'll try to get into it. There you go.
Okay. Why don't you come over and sit in my spot? Okay, got this chair warmed up and you can move through just with the up and down arrows.
Thank you everybody for inviting me tonight. My name is Julian Field and I work for the City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department in the Urban Green Space Outreach team. I'm also a board member of MCIRS, that's a nonprofit, Monroe County Identify and Reduce Invasive Species. Our goal is restoring native plants and controlling the invasive plants that we have in our geographic region. And it's not just our region, it's in our state, on our continent and on all continents. So it's something that's happening on every continent. What we do is we involve our community to join us, and it's working really well. There's a strong undercurrent of people who care and want to connect, and we have grown and adopted green space program this past year. So I'm going to talk more in detail about that in a moment. So what we see is we have increased good social bonds, and this helps us increase our own health and the health of our environment. So they're really closely connected, how well we bond and we work together and work on a joint program, a project for the greater good. As it turns out, it creates more joy in us and it's good for the environment. It doesn't happen magically. There's a lot of work involved and a lot of thinking, a lot of consistency, constant efforts, and also pivoting. So that's really important to point out that we don't just have a magic wand and it just happens. We work at it, we take action, and we see what happens with it. So the good thing is our city is behind our goals, and there really is no substitute for outreach, action, and management of our properties. And to make connectivity work, we must have management on our managing the invasive species. So wildlife corridor is what our big goal is. And if we're going to connect up the corridors and help our environment, we have to think of the invasive species as well, being able to move from one parcel to the next, one fragment to the next. So our goal is to join the fragments together, being fragments of green space. And then how do we do that? And how do we do it well? And it comes back to the action and managing the parcels with community involvement. So getting down to some details here. So we have a picture up on the screen. Can everyone see it pretty well? That's at Lower Cascades, great big, super fabulous oak tree in the background. Actually, it's a bur oak, and that's a team of volunteers that have come to a weed wrangle. A weed wrangle is a term that we use to describe events where people from the community come and work and learn about the invasive plants. And it can be for 1 hour, 2 or 3 hours. So we help people learn that way, and we have a lot of fun. So we get back to the emotional connection of it. It's really important, that emotional connection. And you can see Sam Armstrong in the picture there. Thank you, Sam. Sam has been an adopted green space volunteer at Bryan Park.
It's been really fun.
It's been really fun. Thank you. I don't know. Will that improve things for your vision?
Is everybody able to see? Does everybody need help?
Yeah, that's a big
Can
improvement.
still see Mike?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yep. So volunteers have helped our urban green space team, and that's my position with the city. We've worked on 26 properties last year, and we held 178 volunteer events. These events included adopted green space team leaders, parks partner MCIRS, it's Monroe County Identify and Reduce Invasive Species, the nonprofit group, and also our Bloomington community members. This amount of volunteer hours has totaled 3,138 hours. That's a lot of people turning up, caring, and cutting invasives. Sometimes we plant natives or plant acorns. That's a lot of people in our community. And what that speaks to is how many people actually care. And I do want to get that across, that there is a real strong undercurrent of people who care. It's really important to know that's not just like magical outreach. We actually, like, it wouldn't happen if there wasn't a bottom up. It can happen, you know, you can put out all kinds of advertising and make people aware of a movement, but we also need those other elements to happen too. And it is starting to show up that people really do care. This is a list of all the different sites that we have. It's an important point to point out that we have some really large properties that are super, they're like treasures, and we know them very well. Like Lower Cascades, Griffey Lake, the Beeline Trail. And then we've got these other parcels of green space, and they're lesser in space. However, all green space is important to us. All green space has the potential to increase the native plant base and then become wildlife corridor connection parcels. So we want to say that we have people, our adopted green space, people have adopted all these locations. So in particular, the Adopted Green Space program is one that speaks to people who have decided that they want to commit more and volunteer and adopt a parcel of land that has meaning to them, that has that they have a loyalty to, that they have an emotional connection to. So we do want to meet people that walk that park that every day, or just have really good memories there, and who have the vision that they want to see it not taken over by invasive plants or vandalism or erosion. So our green space team really help communicate with us on a monthly basis. We support them with tools and volunteer vests, and they that helps them stand out in the community. It's a visual cue that they're officials, they've been trained, and they're supported by the city. So we have 21 adopted green space properties. That's huge. We have 42 green space participants, and we're adding, I just want to say eight more right now. The onboarding comes on really, really soon. And the green space volunteer hours, it is half of all the volunteer hours that we have produced this last year. And that really speaks to a lot of committed hours, but that's really amazing. And those volunteers don't just work on their loyal patch, their loyal green space. They come to other properties and they help out. And those properties also are helped out by the Adopt a Stream, Adopt a Trail, and the Park Ambassadors. So those people come to our weed wrangles as well. So it's really a special, like that was a surprise. We didn't know those numbers were going to show up like that people are able to, go to different parks and meet each other. So we have 5 adopted green space volunteers who have received the City Bravo Award for their time and efforts. Margaret Delia, Don Eggett, our very own Don here, Kathy Meyer, and John and Jennifer Vickers. And there's so many more that we could nominate, and we will. So these are just, like, as time has gone on, who have been standout, and the timing's been right, and the year has been right, and the month has been right to showcase them. These look like just letters and words, but and places on the map, but they represent a lot of different people who come from different backgrounds and who care about the environment and who are taking action, and they've stepped up to leadership positions. Bless you. This slide is showing you how many times we've visited the parks, the larger parks in particular. These are the top 5 parks where we've put in a lot of different event hours. You can see from the photographs, we have groups of people turning up. On the left is Bloomington High School South students. We are really building a fabulous relationship with the AP biology teacher and the students there. We have individuals, and then we have down the bottom, you can see the IU ballroom dance team. A lot of fun. When I said, can I take your photograph? I did not say jump into, dance position number 3. They all, they offered that. Here's another photograph showing, like, the volunteers wearing the vest. You can see the logo, the Weed Wrangle logo. We didn't make that up. That is an initiative from the state. It's also a logo that comes from the West Coast. So it's being adopted around the country, and it's just helps. It's another visual cue of what we're doing, and it's quite a strange, like, Weed Wrangle. Like, it's, you can imagine that, it came from the West. This slide is showing out urban green space team, myself at the top, with some tools, and actually you can see a picture of Don in that picture. Jolie, she is the next picture down. She's our data coordinator, and Emily in the other picture with Joanna Sparks. Emily is a data collector, and then Joanna is our leader. Like, Joanna is fabulous supporter, and she is a visionary. So I'm really glad that I can work for her and work for the city. I can't underscore that enough, how fortunate we are that we have our city behind us. And this again shows hours at those 5 different parks. We break it down for more numbers. So volunteers help us to achieve our goals faster. And we can put a number to this. We can put the total value of volunteer time at $93,983.10. That is based on the 2022 federal volunteer per hour rate. Total staff time with volunteers on site is 885 hours. So that's just on site. These events allow individuals and organizations of all ages and backgrounds to connect with our shared green space. So we're actually making moments possible where people can get to have an emotional connection and have education right in front of them and a hands-on tactile experience. So it's not just in theory, they're getting to handle the environment. It's really good for our brains, our mental health, and as I mentioned, it's really good for our environment. Sam is in one of these pictures again, and Ella from Bloomington High School South, she is a volunteer intern this trimester with her cohort, Chloe Waters. They have really helped us focus on Winslow sports and make a model for more students to work with us. This slide is my second to last one. This gives you a visual cue, logos that show you all the different organizations that have either reached out to us or responded to our outreach. And you can see they come from different backgrounds: commercial, industry, targets, IU libraries. IU is making a concerted effort that their groups have time together within their cohorts that does not include a supervisor is with them, but the supervisor isn't encouraged to be the supervisor. Like, there's just a level status of their professions. We had IU libraries came out and they worked with us for 8 hours at Switchyard Park. They worked really hard. It wasn't on, some part of it was weeds, other part was mulching. So I have to say, yeah. And one of those volunteers has gone on to the Canopy Bloomington board and also has become an adopted green space person. So a lot of things start to happen when we meet each other in person. And I just really want to underscore that. And I also want to extend an invitation to all of you with your picnic in mind, that you can come, we can make it a read wrangle. So it could be a professional development and a social event too. It can be at one of our sites with a shelter. It can be any time that you decide. It can be in small groups and then a larger one when you all join together. So it's not always hard and sticky hot work. It can just be a lot of fun. So actually that's my agreement for coming tonight. I don't think you knew that, but that's what I have on my agenda to happen. So once again, really, we are really in an amazing city, and the support comes from our climate action plan and all the things that have come before that, and all the people that brought that, and there's a lot of foundations that we're building on. It just doesn't magically happen. And a special thanks to all our partners and our volunteers and our staff who participate, and all the people who do the back work and share everything. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Jillian. Jillian mentioned a wildlife corridor or a green space corridor, and when I heard this more or less same talk at Iraq, I thought, oh, that sounds like our habitat connectivity plan. And I wonder if somebody who knows more about that plan than I do would be willing to talk at the next Iraq meeting and sort of do the same that Jillian did, but about our plan. And the next meeting is April 12th in Oak Park.
Seems like we could all unify efforts for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be great if you could get the initiator of that plan, who's no longer with us.
We still have the information saved from that though. So,
So you know,
I'll write that down.
you know, Sam knows a lot about it, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Sam could make the presentation on April 12th. EVAC meets at 4:30.
Okay.
I'd still like to add something to what we do in the park. It also has impact on our commission's basic objective of protecting the environment. Also our colleagues in the Sustainability Commission. One of the things we routinely do is, besides picking up and bagging up the invasive plants, we also basically every time we're working in one of the parks, we're also removing waste, including, unfortunately, some things that are hazardous. I jokingly refer to a section of Lower Cascade Park to Joanna last week as Lower Needle Park, because she pointed out how many, over 100 needles, or not needles, syringes and yeah. So if you, and also the outreach aspect that was it yesterday that one of the people passing by stopped and tagged us. That happens quite routinely. They'll either ask what we're doing, and they see us, and they also are seeing the city doing something, putting boots on the ground and getting things done. That's why I joined MCIRS, was because I wanted to be able to see an improvement in places that I'm familiar with. In Southeast Park, one of the first things when it became sort of open to for a neighborhood association, was I didn't see any red lights. I did see any of the flowering plants that I'm so used to seeing in our state parks, in the national forest, the state forest. It was drowned out by winter creeper and Asian bush honeysuckle, invasive vines, and all this stuff that we're doing puts a positive spin also on the city, saves the city's money, as what Jillian pointed out. These are metrics that say that we're actually trying to put things into practice.
Absolutely. Thank you, Don, for that comment. I want to say one thing too. I want to recognize you, Jillian, for how integral you are with the Adopt a Green Space program. I think you started with that last year, and it's been a pleasure for me to be on it as well. And being part of it, I can personally attest to like the major difference being made, and even just Bryant Park, the only place I've really looked this year. So it's fun. definitely encourage everybody to join, even if they have just an opportunity to just once this year or something. So, yeah, and then maybe a comment about biohazardous materials at places like Cascades. It might be worth reaching out to the Indiana Recovery Alliance to do like a needle pickup or something there. So they have certified people to be able to dispose of that legally, so.
Yeah, we actually do have disposal, like Sharpie containers, and we only staff handle that. So, and then we report it to the police.
Yeah.
So we have a reporting mechanism.
Excellent.
For that. And then the Adopted Green Space program, I definitely helped like boost it this past year, along with Adopted Green Spaces. That the program has been in place as an Adopt an Acre for some time. And there are models in other areas, like just like in other cities. Also, based on what we've done this year, the Hoosier National Forest is implementing Adopt a Trail, Adopt a Green Space. Yeah, so it's really great.
Could you send us your slideshow, if possible?
Okay, question for you. So
I can do that. I've got it. I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Well, first, thank you for the presentation. Thanks for all that you're doing to make these programs work. It's fantastic. We've talked a lot about our outreach in the community and how we want to really focus this year on expanding some of that. It sounds like because it's kind of in a similar, just excited to get more people involved.
Yeah.
When putting together these programs, what do you find to be things that either kind of works best to get new people involved or that kind of holds them back as far as like the location, like the certain locations people will swarm to, and others they don't, or like the timing or the group that you have? Like, what are the factors that kind of stand out to you?
I think Canopy Bloomington has a good metric for figuring out that. We know that socioeconomic areas, if we have an area that is more affluent, parks, that doesn't necessarily correlate to the park actually. That is one thing that stands out, like who's involved, which parts of the city have more resources and time and energy, like even their own personal mental health or their own personal employment. So that's a standout, and that's really that information can be found. So that's one thing. A lot of things that really work is time and time again is using Facebook. I use Nextdoor. Let's see.
Letters to the editor. Letters to the editor.
Letters to the editor, articles. Really, it's
city announcements too.
City announcements. So yeah, and where do we see where do we see the energy coming from when we do that? We see it from IU, so we're really fortunate to have it there. We're seeing it from the high school south. We're seeing it from businesses and industries, and there's probably lots of things I'm not thinking about, but it is a really important question, like when do we see it working? And then we head towards that energy, like that involvement. Like it's okay to stay on track and go, oh, this is who we want to reach out to, group A, and we work at it, but we actually see group D is coming to us more. So then that's when we'll change. And we've done that time and time again. So like what works this year or what worked last year, we don't rely on that as the same to happen again. So like changing with the climate, the seasons, like season like summer, they're really not around and it gets hot and not many people want to be out there with, it just gets really hot. Yeah. So, we know that, and we do some different things then. We just, take a rest and we think things. Oh, thank you.
So I was going to ask if our wooded backyard could be a green space to adopt, but it's only a quarter of an acre, and you said you need an acre, right?
And you say, are you offering up your backyard?
Right, a quarter of an acre.
Yeah, so, well, private property is a really, really good thing that you raise, like a really good, I mean, there's so much private property, there's really big numbers about what's privately owned, who owns that land. There are more landowners in Bloomington than homeowners or rental properties. So that is something to really look at, learn what those numbers are. And then around our parks, we are in the process of doing some surveys, and we've got encroachment issues where people dump their yard waste, their Christmas trees, and spread their invasive yard waste, that they're also their invasive propagules from their yard. So I speak to all of you, look around where you live and act on your own properties. And once you come to Wrangle, you'll be more educated, and you'll have more tools in your toolbox on how to identify things. We'll show you how to do that. So yeah, your quarter acre is super important. Another person to think about is Douglas Talmy, the Homegrown National Park. He really is an entomologist, and he's done a lot of work that's really worth looking at. Do you know him?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. No. So yeah, Douglas Talmy is neighbor. He's come many times to Indiana to speak to IU and Indiana Native Plant Society. I saw him just in October in Evansville. That he has made the correlation between our plant base, which should be more native, that the plant base is switching to invasive, and insects. He's an entomologist, so he works with insects. The correlation between insects needing native plants to complete their life cycles, and when there's more invasive plants, they don't have an opportunity to complete the web of life. In other words, our shift is too dramatically towards invasive plants. We do have a race against time. That's Douglas Talmy. He works on explaining how we've got fragmented properties and how our national parks are not big enough to support wildlife and migrating paths and the corridors. So we know now that we need our yards to be at least 75% native plants to support wildlife. So that's a real number. Fact.
Excellent. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Julian today? Thank you so much for your presentation. And thank you for your contribution to as well. So we're still set on Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye. Thanks.
Okay. Pull up the agenda again. So we're moving on to new business now, and then reports. The first item for new business is voting on new officers for the next term. I have not held this vote before, so Matt, I might need a little bit of help.
You might as well turn it over to our elections for Mike and Dave there to tell us who we got.
I will formally turn it over to you guys for that.
Well, wonderfully, Carrie has offered to run for chair. Megan is running for vice chair. So one for each of us. We had nobody offer to run for secretary treasurer. Give everybody another opportunity. If anybody wants to do
It's
that.
not a huge role, just taking notes.
Well,
That's
yeah,
my-
it requires doing what I'm doing tonight, which is taking minutes, minutes for the meeting. That usually is done by interns, but we don't have an intern that does that right now. So
Yeah, they said the interns can't do it anymore.
The city said that?
Really?
Or the school?
No, the city is who told my boss, who told me.
Yeah, I thought you just said fellow. No interns can do it.
Well, we were talking about fellows.
Yeah.
So we'll just go with our one and only fellow right now is Alana, and so she takes great minutes.
Too bad.
Not too long, not too short. When somebody says something really dumb, she makes it sound right.
At least not written down.
Well, there's no record, so we don't know.
So we have a volunteer for secretary. Did I hear that? You have a volunteer?
So that completes the slate.
Okay.
Love jumping right in.
I move that we approve all three of those people to the offices they're running for.
Second.
Okay. So my interpretation of that is that this might be one vote for everybody together, since it won't be worth doing a separate one unless you guys want to take a few extra minutes. So
Since all are on the vote.
Single candidate for each office.
excellent.
Like a Soviet election.
So moved and seconded. So we will do a simple vote for that. Everybody for aye, please raise your hand.
Yes.
Those opposed, please raise your hand. That is a unanimous pass. Let's take a moment to congratulate everybody on the position. Excellent. Any comments on that, anybody? Okay. And then the second item on new business, before we get too excited, is signing up for working groups. It's my understanding that some people have expressed interest in joining some of these working groups, and I think this is a great opportunity to kind of just kick them off again this year and see what good work we can do under our new leadership. So we have a few working groups. Matt, are you familiar with? We have air quality and
biodiversity. I guess the main thing I pointed out at the last meeting was think about what level of involvement you'd like to have with outreach. Given the bucket list meeting revealed, we're going to lean very heavily into outreach this year. It's kind of going to take all hands on deck, which doesn't mean you have to do things you're uncomfortable doing. It means even if you don't want to formally be a part of the outreach group, still think about if we have events, whether you're willing to attend them and tabling, or whether you're willing to help someone organize. Just any involvement that you're willing to do in outreach in particular was a point of emphasis. But other working groups as well, they'll meet less regularly. But if you feel strongly about these other groups, you can also join them too. There's no limit.
Biodiversity, outreach, and air quality.
The only ones I think we have active right now. Yeah.
That's like a textual one that popped up when needed, right? Or is that like the standards?
A few months.
Okay.
Not even that.
We usually announce that like a few months before we go to Heroes as needed. Right?
Yeah, it's already a few months before. The job duties there are basically to judge the art and to volunteer to help at the party.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Where
very.
you said the date, the party?
The 22nd of April.
Oh.
Yeah.
What party is that?
Aligning with Earth Day then.
Eco Heroes?
Yeah, Eco Heroes, the thing where they get the
Awards.
award ceremony. Ceremony was a word. Yeah, award ceremony.
Well, let's make a big effort to get a good number of applicants this year. Last year we had maybe 6 people.
That's like twice in 1 year though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean for the working group?
Yeah, for Eco Heroes, we only had 6 art submissions.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that's fine, but be exciting to have
And
the
another
award
thing,
ceremony, larger group of people.
well, normally we have 9 entries, 90. I mean, 90 entries. And so we did it twice last year. One was postponed because of COVID. And then when we did the other one, the second time, that wound up being, the regular time that we wound up being 2 in 1 year. But we also have to decide ASAP whether we're going to table at the Master Gardener's Garden Show. I'm not even, I know it's past the early bird sign up time.
Do you know when the date is for that and everything? Do you have that?
I don't have it in on my head.
Was it in the sent notes from the meeting?
It's been in lots of different notes, but I just don't have it, committed to memory.
And I talked with, Julian, about whether we could share their table or, you know, potentially, and that's sort of, you don't know how to have a definitive. Ellen Jacquard's got COVID. So
The MCIRS table, okay. Guess that's up to MCIRS and the city, that's fine. Share tables, so unless people feel like we want to have our own.
Well, you know, we had said that we wanted the message this year to be about the habitat connectivity plan. And theirs is, you know, certainly about that, but it's about, you know, all natives and invasives.
And one of the things that I picked up from the time that I sat in on the Sustainability Commission, many of their commission, a number of their hardcore commissioners are very, very adamant about social justice and thinking strategically about the Clear Creek, which is probably the largest potential convict-led wildlife corridor in the community. You have a number of low-income neighborhoods, and so again, the parallelisms between the different commissions is not that different. We overlap, and I pointed out to them that we also, as a whole, have had our strong opinions supporting climate, environmental justice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a good point, Don. I feel like that's something that definitely needs to be elaborated more on. How about we create that as an item for like a biodiversity and/or outreach working group meeting, where we can spend as much time as we want figuring out, you know, how to join other groups or work alongside other ones.
The thought that just crossed my mind, because how often we've been asked when we're working in one of the parks, I've plugged the concept of the connectivity program, which we need to get going, and explain to the people that would stop and talk with us that, you know, these are great two-way streets. They can be either a way in for bad things or a way out and then back into the environment for the good things. And I was thinking during Julia's presentation, I was thinking about maybe even having a little sheet that we could card or something that we could pass out when we do, that would outline why the native plants, native animals, native insects are threatened, and the danger they pose of ending up in monocultures, etc.
We pretty much do have, we've got several fact sheets.
Yeah.
And a big emphasis of them is definitely native plants and the benefits of them, and how and why you bring them in.
Yeah.
I think as we think about how our habitat connectivity plan differs from these other efforts, it really is in line with the point that private property is an important aspect in habitat connectivity. And so our effort to get people to basically add native plants to their properties and then add their properties to this map, I think is where we're unique. And I think the Master Gardener Show would be a great place that we can maybe people that care about that. And it looks like if we're talking the Monroe County Master Gardener Association, their yearly show is April 15th. So exactly 1 week before the Eco Heroes, which makes it slightly harder.
Yeah. Or to get people really excited to come and see the
There you go. There you go.
when we table it, do we have a supply of all those brochures that we have done in the past?
Yeah.
We always make sure that we.
Monroe County?
You know what, maybe we should do is put it on the agenda for next month to like, just kind of like check in on like, your old things that we would put together that table and just like, maybe just revamp that list and if we have like enough printed copies and things like that.
One of the thoughts that I have, we have for some time, has been, we had a federal program with FEMA called Project Impact. And that was in Vandenberg County. And in the buildup for it, city county people that I was working with on seismic work were all doing outreach, and I was participated in that outreach with them. And we ended up speaking to businesses. And one of the thoughts that crossed my mind, and just in the last few weeks of being back out working with MCIRS in the parks, is seeing all the places that have our private property or IU property or Monroe County School Corporation property. My managers at the survey were not happy about me speaking to the Chamber of Commerce in Evansville. They said they would just go ballistic because they perceived that the business community would view the message that there was significant seismic risk, not like California by any means, but a long-term serious thing in the backyards.
Well, that was a while ago. We got better businesses in Bloomington now.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that was interesting when I did the presentation to the chamber after the meeting, I'm very insecure.
Let's tie this back into the working group thing so we can continue that pretty quick.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I wasn't eaten alive.
We did.
The president of the board was very pleased. He made a comment that really amazed me. He said, "We consider Evansville a progressive community."
Working groups? We're talking about working
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah, but this is overall for all of our board. Bloomington wants to market itself as a progressive community.
Let's tie it. Yeah, let's achieve that mission through our working groups.
I'm going to send out a list of all the working groups.
Okay.
And just so everybody knows, when we started working groups, I started this list and it's been added to, but all of them are not active. All working groups aren't active at the same time. It depends on what our project is. But just so you know what they've all been in the past, I'll send that out to everybody.
Will that be a good idea? Will that be with a request to volunteer at that time or?
Yeah, for a call out.
Sure.
But as of now, my understanding, the ones that are the most current / active are biodiversity, outreach, maybe air quality, and eco heroes.
Would it be a ton of work for you to put kind of a synopsis of what those working groups are, like for newer commissioners who may not have the backstory, like the air quality group and things like that? Or is that something we can chat through right now?
Yeah.
Just to give people
Well, I can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank
definitely.
you.
And especially, some of the people who aren't here right now, like Betsy, that might be very useful for them too.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a clear like leader to each working group that if people say, oh, I want to be on these ones, then you can say?
I think we should
Great,
elect
Megan,
leaders.
this person.
We didn't have that last year, but I think it'll help.
When we started, and there wasn't a leader, and it turned out that things didn't get done because nobody was the responsible party.
Everyone waited until
We should
someone had said the
definitely
job.
structure it that way this year. Yeah, so maybe the first meeting for each outreach for each working group, those folks involved could organize themselves and decide who would be the sort of working group leader. So that could be part of the call out email for the working groups. It's instructing that to happen. So it sounds like for the purposes of us meeting here this evening, we're going to wait on that. Just like for the email.
Right.
So
one thing that wasn't on the agenda I'd really like to get straight tonight is, should I pay her $20 for the garden fair?
The Mineral County.
Yeah.
Master Garden.
I kind of got the idea that the answer was yes.
yeah.
But do we have a commitment from enough people to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll throw it out. It's a long event. It's listed 9 to 4.
Yeah.
So.
We'll figure it
Good
out.
thing we have
We have to do 1 hour.
Yeah.
Matt, did you have something to say?
I support us signing up for that. What I was going to suggest is as much as we could organize working groups through email, and that additionally benefits people who aren't here tonight. Perhaps we should just get a rough list of outreach immediately, but I mean from the people who are here, so that if outreach would like to start, whether it's meeting or just talking about some stuff, because I know we have things coming up in April, that could start as soon as whoever chairs outreach would like it to.
So the hands that went up just now were Carrie.
For outreach?
For the, well, at least for the garden fair.
Garden fair.
Oh, we got outreach. It's
So-
garden fair.
April 15th. What day of the week is that?
I think it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Tabling is
Yeah,
fun.
it is.
It's one of the fun
Yeah,
things.
did you
It is,
that or no?
yeah, probably.
And outreach.
We're not
their next
committing
meeting
to
can talk about.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're getting some emails about outreach.
But yes, probably. I'd like
Who
to
the
take
garden
one.
first thing begin at the Armor Garden,
No, I think it's Switchard Park now.
which are
Yeah.
part.
Okay,
You can just come by with snacks or something if you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Just run by, throw some snacks.
So here you go.
They sell food there.
We can.
Bring them.
any other working group comments under 30 seconds? Okay, great. Linda, we'll look out for your email about the working group. Please let any of us know if you need any language to help for that.
Okay, it will be tomorrow. I'll be in
No
the
problem.
sustainability conference.
I would love to.
And Indy, I'm going there too. Yeah,
Y'all get carpool.
I'll see you there. I do want.
Okay, cool.
I'd love to carpool.
Okay, I would be.
Can we represent ourselves officially as Bloomington Environmental Commission members there?
Yeah. See, why not? Well, everybody has to agree on that.
Sure.
Oh, yes. And then you can represent us.
Thanks.
Okay, all right.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. So, that is it for working groups. Let's try and wrap up here in the next 15-20 minutes. Our last item is reports. Let's go through those and let's try and keep each one under about 5 minutes. So we will start with tree commission. David, is that you?
Yes, well, I already sent you
Yes, I saw those.
the urban foresters report, and so let me just comment on a couple of things from that. He says that they planted about 500 trees in 2022. And Arbor Day 2023, which will take place April 28th in Switchyard Park. They'll be replacing vandalized and dying trees. At every meeting, Neil Williams talks about what's going on at IU, and there were no tree issues mentioned at the meeting on January 23rd. They elected new officers. The president is now Mary Welch. The vice president is George Hegeman, and the secretary is Stephanie Freeman Day.
For the tree commission?
For the tree commission.
Yeah.
And at our next meeting, which will be next week, they'll be talking about, among other things, reviewing changes to the tree care manual, which is a fairly thick document. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll quit now, quit there.
Great. Thank you, Dave. That's it for tree commission. The next one is the Monroe County Environmental Commission.
And no updates. No agenda and no Zoom link posted.
No problem. Sometimes
Maybe it didn't happen.
Yeah. I had that issue last year. I was trying to find their minutes. So ECOS, is that you, Don?
Well,
Quick
I
run.
already mentioned much of it, well, other than electing their officers, the big gist of their meeting was got into the need for outreach and need to be aware of what all the other commissions that have connections to their mission, which is, we should be working in a matrix with all the commissions communicating with each other, particularly on where we overlap. And I think that that's why I said, I thought that was the best meeting I've been to.
Excellent.
And that's all I have to say for that. I mean, they also elected officers.
Great. Thank you so much, Don.
Okay.
That's it for ECOS, ERAC. Environmental Resources Advisory Council. We met on February 8th, and first thing they talked about was potential expansion at Leonard Springs Park. There had been 162 acres up for sale. They couldn't raise the funds for that. A neighbor has purchased it, a neighbor of the place, and they expect that person to do well with the land. And there's 5 acres coming up that they hope to be able to purchase. Next thing is RCA Park. They're putting in new interpretive signs, and a bunch of us had edited those and improved them to the point that I think they'll be pretty good. There was election of officers. Denise Gardner will be the chair, and Angie Shelton, who's been an officer for quite a while, will be the co-chair. For the Griffey deer browse study, this isn't killing the deer, but it's studying how they're affecting the place. It's an ecological study. They put fences around some of it and not around others, and then they compare to see what happens where there are deer and where there aren't, and that kind of thing. Your herb indicators are gaining height. Jack in the pulpit is one of their indicators, and its height is increasing. Even I think outside of the fences, Solomon seal is increasing height rapidly. The browse is still moderate to locally heavy, and deer benefit from invasives and spread them. For example, stilt grass. And that information came from, when I said it's an ecological study, it's the local group called Ecologic, and one of their people has been doing this study.
Did it say who? From Ecologic?
I forgot his name.
It's Kevin.
Kevin? They're a senior,
Yeah, it was Kevin.
Ecologist.
Education, there are always a lot of proposals or comments made about those, and I don't get around to taking notes for those. You can wait for the minutes, which always come out just before the next meeting, which is 2 months later. We next talk about the Jackson Creek Trail extension, and then the Griffey Loop Trail. They're on phase 2, and they expect to do more this year. There will be a trail going across the dam, And that went out for bid last week. And so that joins the north and south parts of the trail. And there will be parking in addition near the dam to increase what's available at the boathouse. Then we had an extensive presentation from Julian Field, basically the same thing that she talked about today. And then Goat Farm Park is due to be done by the end of April, I think. And so that was what happened at Iraq. The next meeting will be April 12th at Elkhart Park.
Excellent. Thank you for the great notes on that. I'm covering the Metropolitan Planning Organizing Citizens Advisory Council. There is nothing meaningful to report from their latest meeting. Most of it is just pertaining to just general like transportation stuff. It's not necessarily environmentally themed. And then is Friends of Lake Monroe still defunct right now?
Well,
to start meeting again?
The organization is certainly not defunct.
Not, but you know, like ceased meeting for a while.
Maggie Sullivan has sent a note around to members of the Friends of Lake Monroe that might interest some of you. On March 9th and 10th, the 34th annual Indiana Lakes Management Conference, so it's statewide, will take place at Four Winds for 2 days. That'll cost you if you want to get in, but if anybody wants information about that, let me know. You can find my email, of course, and I will send that information to you. So that's what I know about that.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for the commission reports. That is it for our reports and all of our other business. Do any of our commissioners have any announcements to make before we adjourn our meeting?
I have two. The first is to be happy for Linda and sad for the rest of us to hear that she's going to be retiring soon. I wonder if that's true and when.
What?
Well, they didn't tell you.
Who's it?
Joanna's part. Oh, well, maybe it's not the case. Good.
Well, I haven't made that kind of announcement at all, but I mean, I'm getting pretty damn old. But
Maybe it was a mishear or something.
Well, no, we need to correct Joanna, I guess. Joanna Sparks.
Oh, well, we were talking one day and I said, well, it won't be that long till I retire, you know, I mean. But I
Game of telephone went wrong.
Well, I guess I'll say we're happy for you and happy for the rest of us.
We support you no matter what you do.
Yeah, I'm
Please stay with us.
so
Good.
My second comment is I've always liked trees, but on February 7th, which was the day I wondered if I had been transported to Kansas because the winds were so strong. Our power went out twice, and both times Duke said it was because tree limbs had fallen on their wires. And so in the morning, our power was out for about 4 hours, and Duke said that 117 properties were involved. And that evening, at 5 o'clock, our power went out for another 4 hours or so. And Duke this time said that there were 170 properties involved. So it seems like Duke needs to take better care of trees that might fall on their wires.
And my neighborhood, one's falling on the power line. We have a very short line that just serves basically the north side of Sussex and the south side of Queensway. And a number of times our power has gone out because it's such a small number of customers. We're at the bottom of the list for them to come and turn our power back on. But the thing that really strikes me though is I know it because my yard and my next door neighbor behind me, the original owners planted trees literally almost on the fence line. And both our trees are dying, and we both have brought this to the attention of Duke. But there should be some better means of getting out to the community. Don't plant near power lines, phone lines.
I have two also.
You're retiring.
Well, I only started out with one, but the second one is this group will be the first to know when I decide to retire, because this is a big reason why I don't.
Well, thank you.
I love it. And the other one is that Alana has almost finished an Eco Hero poster, and she will be sending that out to teachers really soon.
That's really cool.
So she's moving along with that, and her next task after that, and starting to bug businesses for money, will be working on the connectivity plans map, because when Ben left, he thought it was all working just fine, but evidently it doesn't work for everyone. So we need to get that done, because all those places that Julian was talking about need to be pinned on the map.
Yeah.
Is that something that a lot, well, I don't know if it would make sense to talk about in the next meeting, or to do as like part of the working group, just like make sure she's stitched into the like, biodiversity working group or something to make sure that all those updates come out.
Yeah.
So it's like
Also,
Working groups and just don't talk, that'll be good, just to keep the commission meeting short.
Julian and Joanna are, while we're working now, are measuring the areas that we work in. So that's going to be, it's going into a database with locations.
Right, good metrics.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the things,
Another one.
just sort of thinking about again is the work in RCA Park. That's in one of our more, working more working class neighborhoods, and it's also critical to Clear Creek, and it looks a lot better now than what it did last spring and the year before when I first saw RCA Park. You actually walk through the forest.
Go ahead and then Matt.
Okay.
Thank you, Don.
Linda, do we still have our background resumes on the Environmental Commission website?
Our background?
We used to have everybody's resume.
I haven't seen that up for a while.
No, it's available for secret. I can see it, but it's not out there for the public.
Okay, well, I think it's a good idea to have it. Never mind.
No thanks.
I used to tell new members that. I guess it doesn't apply.
Oh, just so we can all see, like, new people can see. Yeah.
But nothing else.
It's a higher private investigator, sorry.
Is there an internal website that we use to share documents and collaborate? We just
email.
There should be one, but. Matt?
I was gonna thank Sam for being the chair for this last year. Also gonna thank all the new people in the new positions, including someone on their first meeting on their first day.
For being the best vice chair ever, the past 2 terms, at least.
No, that was all I had. Just wanted to put it out there.
Great, thanks for that, Matt. Also, part of what I want to say is just thank you all for having me as your chair this past term. It's been really fun and a pleasure for me and a great opportunity for me as well. Also just want to say, welcome to the commission. Hope you have a really good time here.
Wonderful.
Definitely. Congratulations to our new officers as well. Thank you guys for your commitment. And then just a quick note about me. I might be moving out of city limits at some point this year. It's still within the county. If that happens, I promise I'll join the Monroe County Environmental Commission. I'll feed you the information. So I'll still probably join this year, the Monroe County Commission. So yeah, but I just want to let you guys know.
Well, it's not been seeing you since your graduation.
I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm sorry I've been busy and everything.
Well,
so thank you, Matt. But thank you guys. So any other announcements or anything? Well, the meeting is finally adjourned. So thank you everybody for coming out.
Yeah.
So.